You probably have some event that lingers at the back of your mind. And every time you think about it, it triggers you. It makes you feel some sort of negative emotion. You may not be able to go somewhere, listen to a specific song because it reminds you of something. It reminds you of something that you don't want to think about. And I know you don't like this. I know you want to be free from the shackles of the past. And for most guys, this could be like a breakup, where you tell yourself that, I'll never love again. I'm gonna be an F-boy. Or it could be something that happened in your family home. Whatever it is, it's something that you didn't process. And that is the bottom line. Whatever that event is that lingers at the back of your head is something that you did not process. And the reason why you didn't process emotions is either because you were too scared to, or you just didn't know how. So if you're too scared to, then I can't help you. But if you didn't know how, then this video is going to be of great value for you. If you haven't processed your emotions related to a certain event, you are still a slave to that event. That event still has hold over you. It still controls how you act, how you feel, your thoughts. So if you want to break free, you're going to have to process your emotions. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how. But before I get into the juicy part of how to process your emotions, drop a like, subscribe, and turn the post notifications on. It's a win-win for both of us. So on to the juicy part. If you want to process your emotions, the first thing that you need to do is to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. The reason why this is extremely important is because to process your emotions, you're going to have to dive into what makes you sad. You're going to have to sit in that feeling and really try and discover what exactly is making you sad. And the truth is, going head on into your negative emotions, intentionally thinking about what is making you sad, intentionally thinking about the thing that's always lingering in your head, that is not comfortable, that will hurt. It will create a pit in your stomach, like a hole where you feel hollow inside. But to process your emotions, you're going to have to sit in that negativity. You're going to have to sit in those uncomfortable feelings. And if you don't get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you will never be able to do this. And if you never sit in your negative emotions, you will never be able to progress and process your emotions. If you want to process your emotions, you cannot run away from these negative thoughts. You have to face them head on. You cannot try and numb yourself in something else like alcohol, in drugs, in drowning yourself in work. And you know what the truth is? Processing your emotions will not be easy. It may be the hardest thing you have to do for a while, but it definitely is worthwhile. Now, step 2. Now we're going into the practical things. Whenever you're upset, whenever you have something that is constantly on your mind, like a thought, a question that you keep on asking yourself, like perhaps that thought or question is, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? You need to journal about it. If your mind is racing, journal. If there's a lingering thought, journal. Because you know, if you have a lingering thought, it's your mind trying to solve a problem, because our minds are just created to solve problems. So if there's a lingering thought that is always in your mind, that is always at the back of your head, it is something that you haven't solved, and it's something that you should journal about it, because journaling will get you closer to being able to solve the problem, or being able to satisfy your brain's desire to attend to that problem. Because whatever is in your head, whatever you're asking yourself, it obviously hurt you. So what your brain is doing is saying, hey, Takura, there's something that hurt us and something that we haven't attended to. Can we attend to this? So what your brain will be doing, it will be constantly pushing that forward, pushing that thought forward so that you attend to it, so that you solve the problem. Because our brains don't like uncertainty, and a problem unsolved is essentially uncertainty. So our brain's main objective is to keep us safe and to keep us away from pain. So that thing that we haven't processed is obviously causing us pain. So what our brain wants us to do is to solve it. It wants us to think about it. That thing that you haven't processed obviously caused you pain. So what your brain wants to do is to get to the bottom of it, so that the chance of that happening to you in the future is lowered. So that the chance of like overall pain is lowered. Because ultimately your brain's main objective is to keep you alive and to keep you away from pain. So until you choose to process your emotions, your subconscious mind will always remind you of that thing that is bothering you. And for this point, journaling is extremely important. And the reason why journaling is extremely important is because as you're writing, you can only think about what you're writing. If you're thinking about pizza and you're like visualizing pizza in your head, you're going to write pizza. Or you're going to write the toppings on the pizza or whatever. So as you're journaling, you're giving all your attention to the thing that is hurting you, the thing that you need to process. So as you're giving something all your attention, let's say if you're giving something all your attention, you're more likely to get to the bottom of it. You're more likely to find that revelation that changes everything. So while you're journaling, your mind will start connecting dots. dots that you couldn't connect without giving it your full attention. And also the nice thing about journaling is that once you're done, you're able to view things from a third person perspective. And once you're viewing things from a third person perspective, you're viewing them more logically. And once you can apply logic to the thing that's in your head, it's much easier to get over. It'll be much easier to process. The third step to processing your emotions is something that I call introspective time. So essentially what introspective time is, time where you're completely undisturbed. You have no phone around, you have no distractions. The only thing you have a pen and a paper for important revelations that you may come up with. So in this time, don't try to force your mind to think about anything. Just sit there and your brain will naturally think about something. And the odds are that it will think about the thing that you need to process. And when you let your brain do its work, when you let your brain think, magical things happen. You will suddenly come to a revelation. You will suddenly connect the dots. You will suddenly realize that you've been tripping the whole time. The fourth thing that you need to do is to give your mind time to rest. And the habits that you can implement that give your mind time to rest are meditation, and for the religious boys, prayer as well. And prayer is a form of meditation. So essentially just meditation. There's different forms of meditation. There's mindful meditation, there's prayer, and then there's breathing exercises. Whichever one you choose, it gives your mind a break. It's extremely important to give your mind a break, because in this process of trying to process your emotions, your mind is going to be like working on overload. You will be tired just from thinking at the end of the day. So you need to have these habits that you can put at certain intervals during the day. Like let's say at 12 p.m. you meditate, at 2 p.m. you pray, at 6 p.m. you do breathing work, so that you just constantly give your brain time to rest. The fifth thing that you need to do to process your emotions, and you guys may not like this, but sad music. The reason why I'm saying sad music is because if you listen to sad music, if you listen to SNH, it'll put you in a sad state. So once you're in a sad state, you're more likely to think about the thing that is bothering you. So now that you're more likely to think about that thing, that's when you journal. That is when you really sit and think about it. But the main point of this is that you'll feel those negative emotions. It's important that you feel those negative emotions, you let them run through you. Because if you don't let them run through you, will never be able to process the emotion. And as men, we naturally, I don't know if it's naturally or society has told us this, like, men shouldn't cry, whatever. So as men, we don't feel our emotions. And we try and numb ourselves, we try to run away from them. But in the end, that screws us over. Because if you can't allow yourself to be sad about one thing, eventually you'll be sad about everything. And if you're sad about everything, that will eventually lead to depression. If needed, vent to your brothers. What I mean by venting is like when you just send like a voice note to them, you send a message saying everything that you're feeling and all your grievances, all your frustrations. Like when I was going through a tough time, Celestino, Fari, there's so many of them. I'll just send like my brothers. Make sure it's your brothers. Don't send them to random friends that you don't trust. Because the truth is sometimes journaling just isn't enough. Sometimes writing it to yourself isn't enough. And in those times where it just isn't enough, that is when you vent to your friends. That is when you message your friends, or you send a voice note and you say, I feel like this. I feel like I've lost all excitement for life. I feel like this and that. Because when you vent, it's not that you're talking to someone else and they're giving you their inputs that helps. It's just the fact that you're getting it out and you're like using energy to get it out your body and you're saying it. That is what helps, because it's like all that negative energy, all those thoughts would have been like concentrated into your head. And then as you say it, it's like it's coming out. And then you're left with a less intense feeling and left with clarity. See, the odds are if something happened between you and someone else, you probably have words that you want to say to them, but then you feel as if you can't say it to them, and it's better if they're left unsaid. You probably have things to say that aren't very nice. You want to bash their character, you want to do whatever. So what you need to do is to write a letter to them with everything that you want to say. And this is extremely effective for like your past girlfriend. Because the odds are if you're like no longer dating, you probably aren't talking. And it's probably best that you don't talk. And you probably have the desire to message that person and to say, this, and to express all your grievances. But the truth is, you need to realize that when you are messaging that person, it's not that you want to get it all out. It's that you want them to say sorry. And you want them to be like, I made a mistake. But then you may message and they may say sorry, but then it will be even worse for you, because you'll realize that them saying sorry didn't help. And now what you thought would help, what you thought would bring you relief, didn't. So now you're left with like this hopelessness. You're like, flip, what do I do? And also the problem with messaging is you assume that the other person cares. I'm going to be the harsh older brother for you here. They do not care. So messaging them is honestly a waste of your time. But it is important that you get what you want to say to them out. So this is why writing a letter is extremely important. So in this letter, I want you to act as if they're going to read it. I want you to act as if they're going to receive the letter and read everything that you've said. And the key is, do not try act as if you're someone else. Do not try act as if you're cool when you're writing this letter. Write out every single thing, every single grievance that you have. And once you write it, now take a break for like a minute and then read that letter out. Visualize that that person is standing in front of you. Act as if they're right there and read it to them. Say it exactly how you'd want to say it to them, with the exact tone that you would use. And then after you've done this, you feel like you've let it go. You feel like there's nothing left within you. And that's good, because it shows that you're letting go. And then once you finish reading the letter, it's time to burn it. Because you don't want anyone to see the letter. You don't want to constantly reread the letter, because it will bring back those emotions. And the reason why I say burning, there's just something therapeutic about seeing something burn. And it's like it tells your mind that, you know what, this thing is over and I should leave this thing behind. I hope this video provided you with massive value as to how to process your emotions. If it did provide you value, if you did learn something valuable from this, drop a like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. It's a win-win for both of us.